Most dog owners ignore this smell because at first it doesn't feel important, it doesn't feel dangerous, and honestly, it doesn't even feel unusual. Dogs have a smell. Everyone knows that. Every dog owner expects it to some degree. So, when a strange odor starts appearing slowly, most people immediately assume it's normal. They think it's just part of owning a dog, part of dealing with fur, outdoor walks, dirt, moisture, and everyday life. But what most people never realize is that certain smells are not normal at all. They are warnings, signals, messages your dog's body is sending long before visible symptoms appear. And the reason these smells are so dangerous is because they usually start small, very small. So small that people adapt to them without realizing it. The human brain is extremely good at normalizing familiar smells, especially inside your own house, which means your dog could slowly develop an odor connected to irritation, bacteria, moisture buildup, skin imbalance, or infection, and you may stop noticing it completely because your brain has accepted it as part of the environment. This happens more often than people realize. A dog starts smelling slightly different. Maybe the paws smell stronger than usual. Maybe the ears have a weird odor. Maybe the bed smells strange even after cleaning. Maybe the collar smells sour. But nothing looks dramatic yet. Nothing feels serious enough to create panic. So nobody reacts. And because there's no emergency, no blood, no obvious injury, the issue continues, developing silently in the background. That's what makes these problems dangerous. Not how they begin, but how easily they hide. One of the most common places where this starts is the paws. And that surprises many people because paws don't seem important. Most dog owners only think about paws when they see visible dirt, mud, or maybe a small cut. But paws experience constant stress every single day. They touch everything: hot pavement, wet grass, sidewalks, dust, rainwater, cleaning chemicals on floors, tiny particles from outside, bacteria from the ground. Everything your dog walks through gets collected there. And because paws are constantly exposed to pressure and moisture, they become one of the easiest places for odor to develop, especially between the toes. That area stays darker, warmer, more humid. Exactly the kind of environment bacteria and yeast love. And here's the scary part. The smell often appears before the irritation becomes visible. That means your dog's body may already be struggling with imbalance before you ever see redness or swelling. Most owners wait for visual proof before taking something seriously, but the body doesn't always warn you visually first. Sometimes the warning comes through smell, and when those warnings are ignored, the cycle continues growing quietly. You may notice your dog licking their paws more often. At first it seems harmless, maybe even cute. Some people laugh when dogs obsessively lick their paws because it looks funny or relaxing. But repeated licking is usually not random. Dogs lick areas that feel uncomfortable, areas that itch, areas that burn, areas that feel irritated or inflamed. And unfortunately, licking creates even more moisture, which feeds the exact environment causing the issue in the first place. So now a cycle begins. Moisture leads to irritation. Irritation leads to licking. Licking creates more moisture, and more moisture leads to stronger odor, more irritation, and even more licking. Over time, this loop becomes stronger and harder to break. And the longer it continues, the more normal it starts feeling to the owner. That's the terrifying part. People slowly adapt to the signs instead of questioning them. And this same pattern doesn't only happen on the paws. It also happens inside the ears. Dog ears are one of the most ignored sources of odor, especially dogs with floppy ears or thick fur around the ear canal, because those ears trap heat and moisture very easily. Inside that enclosed space, airflow becomes limited, and limited airflow creates the perfect environment for buildup. At first, the smell is mild, slightly sour, slightly musty, just enough to notice occasionally, but not enough for people to think something serious is happening. And because the dog keeps acting normal, owners continue ignoring it. But smell is often the first warning sign of imbalance inside the ears. Not pain, not infection, you can see. Smell. As irritation grows, dogs begin trying to relieve discomfort in subtle ways. They scratch more often, shake their head repeatedly, rub their ears against furniture, tilt their head slightly, pause during scratching, like something feels off. But because these signs are gradual, people explain them away. He's probably just itchy. She always does that. It's probably nothing. And while people assume it's harmless, the environment inside the ears continues changing. Bacteria multiply, moisture increases, inflammation grows, and eventually, what started as a mild odor becomes something much more uncomfortable for the dog. But dogs rarely scream in pain. They adapt. That's what makes hidden discomfort so dangerous. Dogs are incredibly good at functioning normally even while uncomfortable. They continue eating, walking, playing, following routines. And because they continue acting mostly normal, people assume everything is okay. But acting normal does not always mean feeling okay. That misunderstanding causes countless issues to go unnoticed for far too long. And then there's the skin itself. Another major source of hidden odor most people completely underestimate, especially under skin folds. Under the neck, near collars, under thick fur, or anywhere airflow becomes limited. Moisture and oils slowly collect there over time, especially if the dog gets wet frequently or isn't dried properly after baths. Many people rush through drying because once the dog looks clean, the process feels finished. But moisture trapped near the skin changes everything because warm, damp skin becomes the perfect environment for microorganisms to grow. At first, nothing seems different. Then slowly the smell begins changing, maybe slightly stronger, maybe heavier, maybe harder to remove. And because it develops gradually, owners adapt to it instead of questioning it. This is why so many people say things like, "My dog always smells, no matter what I do." But the smell itself is usually not the main problem. It's the symptom of something underneath. Bathing the dog repeatedly may temporarily reduce the odor, but if the cause remains, the smell always comes back, sometimes even faster. And this creates another dangerous cycle. The dog smells bad. The owner gives another bath. The skin becomes drier. The natural oils become disrupted. The body reacts by producing even more oil. More oil creates more odor, and the owner feels frustrated because nothing seems to work anymore. What makes this even worse is when strong-scented products are used to hide the smell. Perfumes, sprays, heavy shampoos, products designed to cover odors instead of understanding them. But masking a smell is not the same as solving a problem. In fact, strong fragrances can delay the discovery of serious issues because they hide the warning signs the body is trying to give you. And then there's the environment itself. Your dog's bed, blankets, carpets, furniture. These surfaces absorb oils, moisture, dirt, saliva, and bacteria constantly. And over time, they become part of the cycle too. Even if your dog is freshly cleaned, they return to the exact same environment carrying the same buildup that caused the odor in the first place. This is why some dogs smell bad again only hours after a bath. Not because the bath failed, but because the environment was never addressed. And there's another hidden source of smell almost nobody talks about: the collar. Dog collars absorb sweat, saliva, oils, moisture from outside, dirt from walks. And because they stay pressed against the neck constantly, they develop odors surprisingly fast. But most owners rarely wash collars properly. Some never wash them at all, which means the dog carries that smell every single day directly against the skin. And over time, irritation may begin forming underneath the collar without people realizing it, especially when the collar stays damp after rain or baths. And once again, the smell appears before the visible signs. That pattern repeats over and over throughout a dog's body. Smell first, visible symptoms later. That's why paying attention to odor matters so much, because smell is often one of the earliest warnings your dog can give you before the situation becomes more serious. But there is one very specific smell, one odor many dog owners completely ignore, even though it can reveal that something much deeper is already happening beneath the surface. At first, it seems harmless, easy to dismiss, easy to normalize. But once you understand what it actually means, you'll never ignore it again. And the scary part is that many people smell it every single day without realizing their dog is quietly asking for help. And that's exactly what we're going to reveal in the next video. So if you made it this far, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and tell me in the comments what's the strangest smell you've ever noticed on your dog.